All right, folks. Welcome to our international podcast, Below the Belt. Today is Monday, the 29th day of August. I have my co-host here with me, Twitter Finance. You know we always hear at it. It's Monday and we're talking dollars and cents. Charita, take it away.
Hey guys. Welcome once
Yeah.
more to Below the Belt. You know how we do it. It's good to be here, joining you guys for the podcast this wonderful Monday. And guys, let me know what's going on with you guys. So many of you that come through every single weekend. The usual suspects already in the house, doing their thing. Make sure that you share the stream. You're not here just for your looks, although you look very, very good. Make sure that you share the
Well, can't come
stream
in with that.
so that other persons will be able to benefit from the
Valid,
conversation
credible
today.
information. Good to
Well,
see all of you folks.
yeah,
Lots to discuss today, but I think it's give everybody a shout out today. Lots to
no.
discuss.
Well, we're gonna be just monitoring the comment section as we go along. However, we have some very serious things happening, and we want to
Yeah,
we want to
yeah,
focus
yeah,
very
yeah,
heavily on what's
yeah.
going on.
And it all goes really and truly to
Yeah.
dollars and cents.
Mm-hmm.
First up, we're going to be talking with a woman we sat down with a couple of days ago about her daughter who just fell ill. And then when she realized it, it's something that is very, very grave. She needs some funding. We're going to be talking with her about that. If you've got money, it alleviates so many of your issues that you have. Your access to healthcare, the quality of healthcare you can receive. We spoke to an indigenous sister on Friday. She sat down to tell us about a harrowing experience she had at a hospital there in the interior, in Region 9 in particular. Over the weekend, we spoke with a resident in Region 3 whose brother had a stroke and a terrible experience at another hospital on that side as well. And today again, this woman is talking to us about the condition her daughter has, and the amount of money it's going to take to really bring her back to good health, not even perfect health, good health. And she's just asking for help.
There's the fact that we bring these stories forward, it just gives you a little bit of insight into what's going on in the country.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
particularly the story that you just referred to, that you brought before, with the indigenous woman that lost her baby there, and the horror that she experienced at the hospital was more disturbing to me. And guys, you would remember, and I think some of you did state the same sentiments as well. That person, it's crazy that your baby would have died and all of that, and in all of that, in all of that, we still have a large section of society that believe that they don't have the right to speak up for
Correct,
themselves. They're
correct,
actually
correct.
afraid to speak out. And I think one part of the conversation there, that the woman actually had said that she could not have really said what she wanted to say because she was at the hospital there. It just goes to show the amount of thing goes unnoticed.
Yeah. But we're happy that you guys are on the forefront. We see you out there, folks. We see you. It's a bright, beautiful Monday. It's good weather. And weather.com. We always turn to weather.com to get a check. What are you guys having for lunch out there? What's for lunch today, Monday? I know you guys have perhaps had a big spread during the course of the weekend. You're taking it a little lighter today, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Make sure you're fed, please. Make sure you can't keep giving to others if you're empty. You need your strength. You need to be strong. Weather.com is telling us, Twitter, it's 29 degrees outside, but it feels like 33. These days are so much hotter. I don't know. I just say, Father, come for your world. Come for your world, Father.
That's correct.
Come
That's
for your world.
correct. I don't know. I can't take the heat. I'm telling you. Don't give me the heat. Give me the cold any day, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, good to go.
Mhm.
Good to go. So we're going to continue to follow that. They're telling us there is a 42% chance it's going to rain. So no, rather, sorry, into the afternoon. There's a 12% chance. I was looking at something different. 12% chance it's going to rain into the afternoon.
What does
That
that say to
increases
you?
slightly overnight. 15% as we go into the evening. 30% overnight. If you about
If you
it.
about 12%
walk,
is not a lot to
walk.
work with.
Yeah, but walk with your umbrellas just in case.
Just in case. I don't
Walk with
walk
your
with mine.
umbrellas.
I'm gonna take that little rain because trust me, if I take the umbrella out, the chances are it's not going back home.
I know how you feel. I know how you feel about that. I know how you feel about that. So, folks, let us turn our attention without delay to this young woman who
Yeah.
is in, so much trauma herself to see her daughter in this state, and she feels powerless. I know what it feels to be like that. I can tell you, your child is sick and you want to do so much to help as a parent. You want to intervene, but you're held at bay because of finances. Because of finances. Here's our sister's story, folks. Here's our sister's story.
So, folks, we have Latoya Knights with us, and Latoya is the mother of Falana Harley Quinn, age 5, and uh, Falana's health condition is one that should really concern all of us. And here's a parent who had a normal, healthy 5-year old, and then things took a turn for the worse. Uh, Latoya is going to talk to us a little bit about her daughter, which school she might have been going to before she became ill, and how she learned that she was ill.
Um, well, Falano, at the age, Falano was a healthy baby, normal, playful, and everything until one day um, I was breastfeeding her and I noticed her eyes, the one, I start shaking. So I started getting concerned about it. I took her back to the hospital to see an eye specialist. They told me that Falana will grow out of it, that maybe water or something going to her ears. But she gonna get over it by the age of 3 or so. Well, when she reached the age of 3, both eyes start shaking. I took her back to the same eye specialist. Well, he said he cannot do anything about it because Falana, um, he called us sick. He said that she got nystagma or something, and it cannot be treated. But then, Falana growing up, sometimes she gonna be playing with the children. Another time, she start crying for severe headache, pulling herself up in a corner. She won't play. She stopped eating. It's not like the normal child like she would be. So certain times in the week. So I decided to take Filano to another eye specialist. I paid to see the doctor. He told me that is is a sick and he told me it's a sick Falan has and she can't grow out of it and they can't do anything, they can't treat it or anything. I told him that she was crying or she can't see properly. He said that it doesn't make any sense if they gave her a glasses or anything because she gonna still be like that. But I'll constantly Falana start crying for this headache and she won't eat normal and stuff. I took her to a normal region hospital, Fort Wellington Hospital, where I see Dr. Hamilton. Dr. Hamilton, he start asking questions, but Falana would talk to you like a normal child, like nothing had happened to her. But if you look at her, the eyes was shaking and the way how she would be during the day when she's at home or when like if a loud noise or rain or anything start falling and a loud song, she gonna start holding on her head and start crying. So I explained it to the doctor. He sent me to a pediatric doctor, Myconi, where they transfer me to Georgetown Hospital. They told Georgetown Hospital, they check Falano. They said that they see something in her ears. They give me a date to go back. When I go back, they say that she was normal. There is nothing there. But Falana still continue to cry for this headache and stuff. So I took her to St. Joseph Mercy Hospital where I saw a doctor. I asked them if I could get a CT scan for Felana because if it's not anything to do with Felana eyes or she ears, then maybe it gets something to do with her head because she normally cries for this headache. And we did the scan. We took it to a doctor friend. He told us that um, he saw something, but we have to do a MRI scan. That's where we did the MRI scan and found out that Felano as this tumor. Um, the tumor affects our eyesight, the ability to grow well as a normal child. Felana dreams is to become a doctor. Although she's so small, if you see her and ask her, Felana, what's your name? She would tell you, what do you want to be when you grow up? She would tell you she wants to be a doctor. Why you want to be a doctor? She would tell you exactly why she wants to be a doctor. Felani is such a nice child. I really, really would like to save the life of my daughter. I have consulted many hospitals at the moment. I had reply from Columbia, and I have reply from John Hopkins Hospital. John Hopkins, they charge me a lot of money to do the surgery for Falana that Dr. Duki recommend. And Columbia, they charge me a lot also. I can't afford it because I'm not that upcome with the money to save my daughter's life. So I really need the help.
You talked about the both John Hopkins and Columbia University Hospital and the cost. What is that cost, or what cost are you looking at in terms of saving your daughter's life?
Well, John Hopkins, they told me that the cost for Felana's surgery would cost me 121,000 US dollar to 300 and something thousand. Columbia, they told me that Felana is for the 9,400 for 7 days, and if any other things erupt, I will have to pay $2,500 more a day. That is US. So I'm looking at Colombia. So we're saying that if Colombia is charging so much, just in case of an emergency that should erupt at Felano, we have to get some more money add on, which is $2,500 US more to the money a day. We don't know how long Felano will be staying in the hospital. Um, that doesn't include our where we will stay or eat or travel allowance or anything. That's just the hospital fees.
So that is the expense you would incur if you were to save your daughter's life. Where are you in trying to meet that target? Has anybody come forward? What has that process been like? Talk to us about that.
Well, I've been running around. Um, I have been walking, me and my aunts and my mom, cousins. We've been asking the public for donation, house to house. Some people they will give, but not much. Some of them would embarrass us, but we don't mind. The embarrassment to save Falana life. We have start doing fundraising for barbecues. We have a barbecue on Saturday. That's one of them, and we have three others that we plan to raise funds towards Falana health situation.
And I think you said in the process that you've gotten some money promised from the government. Talk to us a little bit about that, and then I think also there is you had reached out to another state institution where you are in the process with that other one.
Well, I've reached out to Ministry of Health. They have promised to give me, that not to give me, to send to the hospital where Falana would do the surgery, 1 million Guyana dollar. So I went to the Ministry of Social Protection and Human Service. I have taken all Falana's documents and stuff there. They have collected it and told me that the minister would review it, and if anything, she would call me if she would like to make a donation towards it.
Great. We talked initially about what led you to seek a diagnosis. How has Flana been since that time in this wait now for the accumulation of the funding to get her the attention that she needs?
Well, Falana is there. Um, as I said earlier, 1 minute she would be an active child. The another time you have to be looking at her because she would be clumping up in a corner, crying for headache. Or like last night, I didn't sleep because she cried. Yes. Like last night, I didn't get no rest. She cries for the headache all night. Um, she's been living on Panadol syrup since she was diagnosed with the pain, with the cancer, brain tumor. She hasn't been attending school. The last time she did an emergency VP stunt replacement at Josh Young Hospital, she was on recovery, and I took her back to school saying that, well, maybe she will be normal until she's ready to do the surgery. And she took ill, and we had to take her back to Fort Wellington Hospital where they admitted her. And the doctors told me not to take her back to school because the noise was so much, she couldn't bear it. So it started affecting her. She normally got to be in an environment where she won't get much noise and fatigue.
So sad to hear. Tell us about persons who wanting to make a contribution to saving your daughter's life. How can they make contact with you?
Well, persons that wants to donate towards my daughter, I have an account at Republic Bank, and my telephone number is 6264891. My account number is 962352643658. Aki Knights is on the account number.
Thanks very much, Latoya, and we wish your daughter, all of the best. And thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you very much.
Yep, and there you have it, folks. There you have it. Dollars and cents. That's what it comes down to in lots of these instances, folks. Dollars and cents. If you have money, you can afford good health care. You life is easier. But in the vicissitudes of life, how do you plan for that? How do you plan?
Yeah.
You're going to have a medical issue that costs $50,000 US. And no parent, well, few parents can afford that kind of money for healthcare, and this is where you hope a government is going to come in. You hear her say she's gotten $1 million from the government to offset some of these expenses. Social protection asked her to submit an application. She's still waiting to hear
Yeah.
from them. Human services and social protection. We're going to see how that goes.
Well, like, yeah, we have to, and I think it's these matters are very time sensitive. Someone's health, having to do surgery and those things are very time sensitive. So to have someone have to go submit a letter, and then at the end of it, you got to be waiting for them to reach whenever to make a decision as to whether or not your case should get some financial aid. It's crazy, needs to be easier access
Yeah.
to whatever is available. There
Yeah.
needs to be easier access. It's one thing for persons to be going out there and sharing out money in an envelope before nightfall, but then when someone is sick and they're looking for actual money to get well, this mother is there desperately in
Yeah.
need of money to just aid in her child getting well, and she has to write a letter, you know. It's crazy
You got to
because
hold see a child.
when you compare the way in which things are done,
Yeah.
where certain people are not asked to write letters and all of those things, but we have to have a structured system in place in which, in order to get the paperwork lined up, there's staff there actually aiding in that process, and then there's some bit of quickness to it,
Yeah.
if I can say it like that, because it's crazy that persons have to go through all of this. They're already in the emotional turmoil of having to deal with it every single day, and then the bureaucratic processes that are attached to it now, it just makes it seems impossible for people to actually get some well needed assistance, and that's not the case. So that it has to be made simpler, because the truth of the matter is, Sherrod, and you guys viewing right now, the truth of the matter is that the persons that are most in need of these assistance are people that, that are not making all that money, right? They're struggling themselves, and that's the bottom line. They need aid, and they need that the system that they can access aid through to be a simple system. They don't need all the bureaucratic nonsense to have to go through this loophole and that loophole just to get to the aid. It needs to be made simpler so that they can actually access resources and the aid that they desperately need. It's
That's it.
very sad.
That's the reality of it. That is the reality of it. And you know what? It always comes down to, as we said, it's dollars and cents. It's dollars and cents. Right? That's it. That's it. And the cost of living getting no better in this country.
It's
Could you
true.
imagine caring for a child like that who's becoming so much more dependent?
Yeah.
How does the mother work? I didn't hear much about daddy, but how does the mother go to work? You gotta take care
Yeah.
of a child. How do you afford? Somebody who can come in and look at that child on a small salary and all that. It's so much that is interconnected and interrelated. So much.
Yeah, because a child is, listen, we have to. There's a lot that came out of that interview. One of the first things that I picked up very early on is that we really need to pay attention to our children. When their behavior, changing pattern of their usual behavior, and all of those things that mother did. She noticed, like, this is not normal. He
Yeah,
used to be
yeah.
more outgoing and all of that. So it's very, very sad that mother is going through that. But there's a bigger story as to the amount of persons out there. And she does say something, and I want to just weigh in on it a little bit about asking for donations, and some persons embarrassing them, trying to
Can you
embarrass them.
imagine that? Can you
Yeah,
imagine that?
but there's a reason, there's a reason for that, and the reason is because there's so many persons that are fake,
Mm-hmm.
that goes out there
Mm-hmm.
and lie that they
Mm-hmm.
need assistance and those things. And
Mm-hmm.
because of that, now when the actual people that are in real situations go out there to get the assistance, persons don't know to discern between who is real and
Yeah.
who's fake.
Yeah.
But we need to be
Yeah.
very conscious as a society and listen to the details altogether. I did know that she mentioned the account there at Republic Bank that she has. She mentioned the account, and also, and she gave the phone number out. Guys, we have to, once we can, we can do our part.
Mm-hmm.
We have to care
Mm-hmm.
collectively as a society, because a lot of people are out there struggling. It's crazy. It's crazy that a lot of people are out there struggling, and we need to be. Healthcare is a big issue. That is just the plain fact. Healthcare is huge, and there needs to be systems in place. We're talking about all the money that we're getting, and every time I talk about it, I remember the fact that for this year we're almost at $600 billion.
Correct. Correct.
Almost at $600 billion.
Correct.
How does that translate to that mother? How has it
Correct.
translated to her and helping her child? Because she clearly doesn't have access to any resource to go out there and to get her child well. We have to do better. There's no point in just saying that per capita, fastest growing economy and all those things.
What I mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
What does it mean to the
Is that gonna
ordinary
help my
citizen?
child?
Yep.
You know,
And
is
those
that
are the
gonna help?
questions we have to
Yeah.
look at. A lot of people don't like to have this conversation, but people, you need to open your eyes and to realize that it's the most vulnerable people in society, and that the resource isn't getting down to, and we all should have a problem with that. We all should have a problem with that. It's not okay for a mother not to be able, in an oil rich country, to actually have to wait and not get the response yet, and all of those things when it comes to her child's health.
Mm-hmm.
That's not okay at all.
And that's sad to say. That's
Where is
the
the healthcare package, Sherrod? Did you see any healthcare package coming out? We're talking about practically $600 billion. Like,
yeah.
where's the healthcare for a citizen? Where's that lovely package?
Correct. Correct,
Hmm?
correct. You know what? So let's head into the other aspect of the discussion, folks. You heard the numbers that are being read out there for the bank account and telephone number to
Yeah.
contact our sister. Uh, do good to them if you can. Do good to them if you can. On the other side of dollars and cents is where the money actually going. Where the money actually going. We want to turn your attention, guys, to GuySuCo, because GuySuCo, according to them boys should be the experts in GuySuCo, but that's not the case. Right? Those guys should be the experts in GuySuCo, but that seems not to be the case. They said sugar belongs to them. They can do better and all that, but their management of the industry leaves much to be desired. Leaves much to be desired. Here is the CEO pretty much lying to the nation. There is no sugar shortage, but we live every day. We stand up in the lines.
Hmm.
We get the ration sugar, one per family at the supermarket.
They're literally asking right now for 25% of the lands to be privately operated for the sugar to be
Oh
sold back to
yeah,
guys
yeah.
to be
Well,
sold back to guys to
let's
go.
let's hear what the let's hear what the CEO is saying, and then we come back in. Yeah, they're asking for that. Oh my, here is the CEO for GuySuCo telling the nation there's no shortage.
Hmm.
What shortage? What shortage?
Good
We
Lord.
got plenty sugar. Sister Einstein.
GuySuCo doesn't have shortage of bagged sugar. That's the 100-pound bagged sugar. What GuySuCo has a shortage of is packaged sugar, right? But you can only do packaged sugar when
All right, folks. Sorry about that. We like to take things from the top to give you a full sense. Here is that again.
GuySuCo doesn't have shortage of bagged sugar. That's the 100-pound bagged sugar. What GuySuCo has a shortage of is packaged sugar, right? But you can only do packaged sugar when we're grinding and we are in production. We haven't ground cane sugar since the end of May 2022. So we had stocks put aside, but a lot of all of it was sold out in the local market. And unfortunately, we got wind that some of our sugar is being smuggled to a foreign country via the backtrack. So we had to take control of that because Guyanese sugar has to go first to Guyanese. Guyanese supermarket, Guyanese bakers, Guyanese manufacturing companies. And that is why we focused our distribution in those three areas: bakers, manufacturers, and supermarkets. We've even start to sell to the small shops. iFlut is grinding. That is 2,000 bags of sugar being produced today. 2,000 bags of sugar. So to the rumor mongers who's trying to peddle that we don't have sugar, we don't have packaged sugar. But packaged sugar is going to be back on the market within the next 2 weeks. We're guaranteeing that. But what we do have is bagged sugar. And we can supply the market with bagged sugar.
Yeah, you heard it from
I
Sister
didn't
Einstein yourself.
understand.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
understand when he said
Yeah.
that when he distinguished between bag sugar
Yeah.
and packaged sugar,
Yeah.
and then he
The
said
package can be a bag.
you have to grind to get package.
Yeah, but they ain't grinding right now.
And he said they're not grinding, but then he ended
Yeah.
by saying that you hear that I feel is grinding. It's you're gonna have 2,000
Yeah.
bags.
He said sugar's being smuggled. I want to smuggle you out to this country. I want to smuggle you out to GuySuCo. That's what he
The
wants.
man said,
Smuggle him out
listen,
to
he
GuySuCo.
said that since when he said May, I think it was May, he
Yeah.
said that
Mental health is real, folks.
there wasn't any grinding being
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
But then he said that the sugar has been smuggled. So like you were saying,
Yeah.
that the packaged sugar is not available because there was no grinding. But then you were saying that the sugar has been smuggled and you had to take control of that. There's no control being taken anywhere. Like, where's the control?
Yeah.
Like, what did he take control over? Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand where he was coming from. But he said it with such confidence, I gotta
Yeah.
give it to him with the confidence
And
on the madness.
This is where, what do you call it? The money's going.
Mm,
This is why people sick in this country, because money that should be going to the health sector
yeah.
pouring into GuySuCo, right? And let me just give you a sense of how much money Julie think has called an overall figure. But here's what some of the money went into GuySuCo. Since PPP came in August 2020, before the first budget was ready, they give them 600 million. September of that very year, 2020, in that September budget, they give GuySuCo 5 billion. In December of that very year, in a supplemental budget, they gave GuySuCo $4 billion. In February of 2021, in that national budget, the biggest, not all these budgets are the biggest ever, GuySuCo got $2 billion. By June, in a supplemental budget of 2021, GuySuCo got another $1.5 billion. In December of 2021, a supplementary budget, again, GuySuCo got $5.1 billion. Early this year, February, the national budget, GuySuCo got $6 billion. In a supplemental this very month, GuySuCo got $3.4 billion.
But yet the 92 workers that are protesting because they're not leaving them to clean any more so that the funds could pass freely. They're not allowing them there because they're saying that they don't have money to pay them. So they're putting them to weed and cut cane, right? So where's the money going? The question was asked, where's the money going?
This is close to $30 billion have gone into GuySuCo in 2 years. $30 billion, another two, that'll be 60 if they could keep up at this rate. Right? Another 60 will be 120 billion. You understand where we're going? But people who need basic health care are being denied because illiterate, incompetent government trying to prove a point that they can rescue this behemoth. They can rescue this behemoth here.
Yeah.
Right? And it's sad because where the money should be really going, people. And thank you for so many of you who are joining us. All the usual suspects on the live. The folks, the money should be really going to other places, but it's being poured into this. Now becoming a total white elephant, and not just skeleton as a white elephant.
Mm-hmm.
Not one, what do you call it? Estate has reopened, even with the promises, even with all the promises, not one.
Yep.
And Georgia was right in articulated. Let's take them issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's take them issue by issue. $28 billion to be specific, poured into GuySuCo since 2020 August. $28 billion. Only to be told, oh, workers can't get paid because they have money to pay these workers for cleaning the S3 canals and so on. 92 of them are on strike right now. Right? They're on strike. 92. 92 of them are on strike. This industry isn't going
because they
anywhere.
don't have money to give them accordingly. You have to check out the web of lies and deceit that is happening at GuySuCo. And I think that persons at this point in time, there is nobody out there that could face any representative of the coalition to say that, the PP knows what they're doing. They can't do it because everybody is very aware right about now what is going on at GuySuCo. They understand very clearly why the industry was the way it was prior. They understand very clearly why was it necessary to do the right sizing of the industry. They understand all of those things right about now. But some of them barefaced, we got some of those usual suspects
very
as well.
Folks, why isn't some of this money filtering to you? Why isn't some of this money filtering into your pocket? And if you're a public servant, what's yet? If you're a public servant, what's yet? Because, some folks over the weekend had nice time, because you get $1 million. What we call here the Irfan Oprah moment. You get $1 million, I get $1 million. We all get $1 million. This is the day that the Lord has made. I mean, you want to see it by your side. Yeah? You want to see it by your side. But this money here pouring into GuySuCo, wasting taxpayers' money, pouring into GuySuCo, could have been by your end. Here, brother Irfan, over the weekend.
But today is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. But today, your government is about to deliver to you beyond the promise of our manifesto. Your government is about to announce a measure that I assure you is second to none in the entire world. Your government, in keeping with its commitment to uplifting your lives, will make the following announcement. And as your president, I am pleased to make the following announcement. We have worked with the Ministry of Housing, and the model of house that people are using here costs about $3 million. That is in the community. So here is what we're going to do. The government of Guyana, starting with the persons who have the lot, 600, the government of Guyana will, with immediate effect, give $1 million Guyana dollars to each of those allottees.
Nice time, folks. Nice time. Nice time. So the money going to some people. And the behemoth.
Is it?
GuySuCo.
Who is it going to? Listen, I want you guys to.
I want a nice, no collateral, no job letter.
No, I want you guys to be very aware of how the PPP
Talk to
operates.
us. Talk to us.
And
show us the playbook.
now, let us not pretend that steel and cement wasn't promised. Let us not pretend that that didn't happen.
They're getting it too.
Let us not pretend that the promise wasn't made when it comes to steel and cement. Big announcement on the stage, steel and cement. You know, everybody building the house would get access to steel and cement and all of that, you know, for the size house and whatever. Absolutely no plan was put in place when an announcement was made. Absolutely no plan. And you know how many persons got steel and cement so far? You know, guys, wake up, please. When that announcement was made, I said with no uncertain terms that what's happening there is that people selling steel and cement complaining, and they want the government to buy it off of their hands. I said it in no uncertain terms, and I also said that persons are not going to be getting the money in their hands to buy that. I noted the announcement made there by Air Finale, but what I was more keen to notice is that there's absolutely no mention as to how it will be done. You know, there is no mention as to whether or not you're giving cash over to these persons, and there's absolutely no structure being laid out to the public as of right now as to how it will be done. So be not surprised if you hear him say, or if you hear the announcement made, it's not going to be made by him. So let me just pull back on that. Be not surprised if you hear the Ministry of Housing announcing that, oh, the persons have to have approved house plans and those things, and then they have to come in, and then they have to bring whichever material list, and then they were going to give them some voucher to take somewhere to some business person. It is always directed specifically to their business friends and family. That's my bottom line. And they will find a way to make sure that they direct it there.
And you know what? Folks have already done the math and saying that loan is going to eventually cost them $5-6 million.
Because they know. Listen to why they're going to do it.
What we get him free, really?
No, but listen to why they're going to do that, right? Because they know if they put $1 million in the hands of each of those persons, it's going to go towards food, shelter, and basic needs. That's how it's going to be spent. They know that they wouldn't be able to direct it to their specific friends and family if they give them the cash in hand. And nobody is going to be going and putting $1 million towards building a house when, in essence, they have to study how to feed in the family at the end of the day. So to make sure that they direct the money to their friends that they want the money to go to, they're going to put mechanisms in place to channel it there.
Very well. Very well.
Wait and see.
Very well. I hear you, sister. I hear you. That's what's happening. That's where the money going. Some people.
But the boldness, you know, I want to vent a little bit. You know,
go ahead.
The boldness in these announcements is just upset me, because I don't know if they're trying to provoke a response of other people, that you boldly go out there and you make this announcement, knowing full well that you have public servants going to work every day, and you blatantly ignore their cry for a higher wage. You blatantly ignore it.
You know, the chairman of Region 10, Darren Adams, I saw him on social media saying, we want the same thing here for our people. What prevents the people of Linden from getting that kind of facility? This no collateral, no job letter loan, because I could see a lot of people could say, well, I can build a small house. I can start small. I'd love to get a $3 million. Why that can't be the standard? I mean, that's part of the question we're asking, but not to deviate. You see where some of the money going, in certain sections of society. This is not a universal, at least not locally applied thing here. But, and the rest going to GuySuCo. While GuySuCo telling us this morning, 92 employees are on strike, claiming that they ain't getting the right pay. They ain't getting the right. And in addition to that, you mentioned earlier too, that GuySuCo is seeking private planters for 25% of its land. But they,
1/4.
so who are they hiring for all these billions if they're seeking private planters?
But within that list, I don't know what they're planning to do, because within that list, they spoke about the Rose Hall estate and all of those things. So what they plan on doing with the workers that they said they rehired? They spoke to them as yet. These are the conversations that we need to have. The blatant web of lies that they've managed to tangle themselves in when it comes to GuySuCo and sugar. What people say is give people enough rope for hang themselves.
Well, they're hanging right now. They're kicking right now. This is what hanging looks like.
They're different.
And with that, we're talking all the while about where some of this money is going. We see the Auditor General today talking and saying that they're overpaying contractors. You see, I understand why now. Edgel and your girl to share no one day PSC to meet and to scrutinize things without them and so on. The Auditor General saying by $5 million they overpaid 2 contractors. Nice time. Nice time. Nice time for them boys. You can understand why they don't like the financial scrutiny of the Public Accounts Committee. Right? Nice time. $5 million. How I never so lucky, man.
To get overpaid. Them things don't happen to certain people.
I was a bad lucky man. I vexed with you all. You're going to apologize to people in this country. I vexed with you all. So a lot of stuff happening at GuySuCo, folks. A lot of stuff we're trying to follow. We've talked about the workers who are currently we started with, for instance, talking about the shortage that the CEO is trying to tell us is not happening. Right? He's trying to tell us everything is right there. And while we talked also about the contractors that have been overpaid, we didn't tell you that the manager there at Rose Hall resigned because he said the CEO is toxic. The CEO is toxic.
Well, wasn't it Rose Hall that rehired the persons that they spoke about? Yeah. Rose Hall rehired persons to do jobs while they were not operating. They're still not operating, are they?
Yeah.
Right. So, and now they want persons, private investors, to go and plant and so forth and supply to Rose Hall. So what are these persons going to be doing? Or do they plan on just sending home all of them and say sorry?
I don't know I don't think there's a plan,
Most of us speaks with
I don't think there's a plan. You get up and in the morning and whatever hit in your head, that's the plan for the day.
Goodness.
That's the plan for the day.
Well, these people are different. They're very different in the way in which they do things. But when it comes to dollars and cents, we have to keep tracking the money.
Follow the money.
The very reckless manner in which our money is being spent. Because when you look at things, the people are spending money. Officials are spending money in a manner as which they would spend their own money, as though they shouldn't account for it. There shouldn't be no clear process of accountability and all of those things. That's why I don't get excited, and I tell people not to get excited when you hear those big announcements.
You don't get excited?
No, not when I hear those
You
big
just laid
announcements.
back. You
You
just
know,
cool,
some
calm, and
people,
collective.
I am, you
You
know.
started doing backflips to the 1 million.
I can't because there have been no laid out plan as to how people can access it. And mind you, when it was announced, I got calls of persons that say, these lands are not supposed to be resold or anything like that. However, persons are already reselling some of the lands, So, but the paperwork can't go through as how it normally would and all kind of things. So, oh my goodness. So it's crazy what's going on there. Persons there. I think the administration, PP administration, believe that it's okay to hold people at ransom and to get them at this place that they desperately need. They desperately need money. They desperately need food. They desperately need support, and that's the way in which you keep people in check. But little do they know that there's a different um, generation at play right now, and you can't just feed them nonsense. I'm going to be waiting very carefully, and I'm going to tell you guys just the same. We have to monitor how they move forward. Up to date, the cement and steel big announcement haven't come into being up to today. Unless they're buying cement and steel secretly and giving it to people without the public knowing. That would be a major issue.
Yeah.
That would be a bigger issue.
Mhm.
But then they did come out and say is eligible and trying to cut down and cut off and all of that.
Mhm.
That wasn't in the announcement,
Mhm.
but they
Mhm.
find all of those regulations after. I want to see and I want us to monitor how they're going to actually let that money be directed. That $1 million per person for that 600 persons there. So it's $600 million you're talking about. And if they are true to themselves and their actions from day one, they will guarantee a way that it is directed to their specific friends and family that they want it to be directed to. And we
Correct.
have to
Correct.
keep
Correct.
looking at it. They go and they
We're
believe that people
following,
are
folks. We're
foolish.
following.
They believe that they can say whatever. And again, I say, if they do go down the line of putting the money in the hands of those persons, then you can go and count on the palm of your hands, how many houses would actually be built and how many persons would actually start that process, because people are in desperate need of money to survive. They're in desperate need of money to buy food because
Yeah. Yeah.
inflation of basic food items are skyrocketing. And we've said it 1,000 different times
Yeah.
that when you feel you're paying a lot of money here for something, then you go to those outlying regions, you check the price there. It is 10 times as more as you're paying for it on the coastlands and so forth. So those persons would be desperately in need of that money to actually sustain their livelihood or something like that. And they're well aware of that. So the only thing they're good that I see
They're
them
just
doing moving
wicked,
forward,
stinking, dirty.
they're terrible. They're terrible. They're
That's what,
terrible.
that's what they are.
But you have to keep track of the promises of citizens and call them out for not delivering.
Mhm.
You can't just
Mhm.
tell people. How many of you out there actually building something and you want some steel and cement? Anybody's putting forward anything that is going to direct you
Yeah.
to this
Yeah.
big promise, to the
Yeah.
realization of this promise?
Yeah.
It hasn't happened as yet. Persons are in the back room trying to do some kind of jumbo, whatever arithmetic to make sure that they have control over this big crazy announcement that he made without consulting with his finance minister. And definitely it seems that the Ministry of Housing was notified, because they had no plan in place. Likewise, and this is when sometimes I want all the reporting that is saying, this announcement was made. Where was the question put? Sometimes I get a little frustrated because people need to push these questions, like what would be the distribution mechanism? Are you planning to give actual cash in an envelope to these
Correct.
persons? Like,
Correct.
how is this money going to be dispersed? Or are you going to give vouchers for them to go to specific places to cash in on building materials and all? Where are those questions are not there, so they get away with murder by just going out there and making an announcement, take over all the headlines and all of those things. Let me see where it goes. Let me see them put a system in place that the money, the $600 million, isn't directed to their friends and family. Because that's how I see that going.
Yep, 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 yep. And folks, we're following the money, following the money. That's how we know how much money, in each budget has gone to GuySuCo to be able to track and see what these people doing. What they're doing and why is GuySuCo still looking in the shape it is looking, and we've seen a lot of folks, it's not just us at this end, former President Ramatar and the list goes on, who've come out and say that GuySuCo leadership
Mm.
needs to go. GuySuCo leadership needs to go. But you see, Jack Dio and Irfan Ali rather try to save face,
Yeah.
right, and waste taxpayers' money than doing the right thing and pulling the plug on all this nonsense here, because this is an experiment, you know. This is an experiment that's happening right before our eyes. It's an experiment, right? And then, Charita, you go into this better than I could when you talk about the sis, the Ryan Sings of this world, going to the folks in GuySuCo as though they owe them something.
Yeah, that's how they
The
operate.
gratitude you must have. Why you got the gratitude? Ni makarang.
They expect gratitude.
You know,
That's what
because
they
you give
say.
them a little money.
So that's what they do. They
You
go
know?
and they make a big announcement to the indigenous people. And the disrespect for the indigenous people
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
they have, it just
yeah.
kills me. You don't hear them talking about taking the big business ideas and taking the business
Yeah,
sector to the
yeah,
indigenous
yeah,
people, for the indigenous
yeah.
people to be able to
And different
elevate
people can't
themselves
own showbiz,
when
so
when it comes
can't
when
get
it
a piece
comes
of that
to
pie too.
business, you know.
Well, if you can't even mind the ground beneath your foot,
Jesus.
you know, because you held back.
Mm.
But all of this is to silence them, you know. Buying the vote.
I didn't see them going to the indigenous communities and say we're here with small business grants to
Yeah.
give out, you know, so
Yeah.
that you guys can establish yourselves to that
Yeah.
level. I don't
Yeah.
hear those. I don't hear those
Yeah.
announcements.
Yeah.
I don't hear that you can make $1 million a month off of your own strength
Correct.
and your
We
work
wanna
and your business.
Bring your business up to the
Yeah.
level of getting ISO certified.
What
to
they're trying to say,
get a piece of the pie.
the indigenous people don't know to create businesses. They don't demand and
Don't know how to
deserve. They
generate
don't.
wealth.
It would appears that is the impression they want to actually put out there, and I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I have a personal
We've been having
problem with
it.
that.
That's what we're saying, good folks. Share the live, smash the emoji button, folks. Partner with us as well. You know, we at that point in the month where we creditors at the door, literally. Ali, hold on. Them boys at the door. And we know you guys are going to help us to meet our financial obligations, folks, as we continue to be on the forefront of these issues, ensuring credible and valid information at your. And I'm trying to calm Rita down here.
Please do, please do.
Rita is blue mad here, blue mad.
You grew up seeing it, you know.
Yeah.
But my problem is,
It's been
Sharon,
your lived experience.
exactly. That's my problem. My problem is that my father is pure indigenous. Let me tell you, my mother isn't what my father is. So because of that, I look indigenous completely, and I have grown up among people, and you know. I hate it when people go out there and they have not an iota of understanding as to indigenous people and how they live and how they survive on a daily basis and all of that. And then they the very fact, let me put it over like this: the very fact that people think that this is such a great move for the indigenous people and so forth. It shows the level at which they perceive the community and indigenous people altogether. And I have a problem with that. I have a problem with you not providing equitable access to resources for indigenous communities so that they can establish businesses themselves. I have a problem when I know for a fact that there are technological experts, indigenous men out there that have the know-how how to do things, and they just want a little brace when it comes to the resources. But there's no there's no setup there to make sure that they can access the resources. I have a problem knowing that what is going on at Chinese land, and when persons are going into those areas, large scale miners,
That's the really Chinese landing.
invading completely.
Correct.
You know, completely trampling on the human rights of the people there. But there's no system set up that the indigenous community would be able to access equitably the resources so that they can be able to own operations that is going to mine the lands that they were born and raised in. I have issues with those things.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Folks, it's been our privilege having you guys here with us. We're in the process of wrapping up, but we have to let you know how much we value your presence. That makes a difference in all of our programs. Good to see the usual suspects. I'm sure we can give you guys a shout out today. You know, we're on a lot of fronts fighting today.
Yeah.
You know, it's the start of the week, so the battle is hot. We're on a lot of fronts fighting. But folks, The Bascom issue rolls on. Just to give you guys a quick sense of what we're tracking, that rolls on. And we were talking this morning about the Alliance for Change leader, Kemet Ramjadan, saying what we all feel, that his security is supposed to be paramount to each and every one of us. His security is paramount. We're following as well, folks, this horrific murder of this young woman over the weekend. Horrific murder. Miss Dazzle, Tessina Dazzle, who lost her life at the hands of her reputed husband, Quincy Roach. And quite a story there. We're going to be talking some more on that throughout the day.
So many angles that stories
so
coming
many
from.
angles.
So many
Indeed, Rita.
angles.
We're going to talk about that a little bit more in the ring tonight. We're following that. And also the young lady who lost her life.
At Gafford.
Yeah, Cindy Rattan lost her life there at Gafford. A lot of pain over the weekend. And while we talked also this morning about the carnage on our roads continuing, folks. Oh, my God. We're hearing, we gotta slow down. That's what we always say, guys. Slow down and let we arrive alive. That's just a couple of the things we're tracking at our end, folks, and we think that you guys know about. We're gonna be back this evening with more news and information. We even talk about a racist rant in Texas. Folks. Hey, listen to me. We gotta be more kind to each other in this country. That's why when we see this nonsense with the inequity.
Yeah.
The unfair distribution of wealth.
The brazenness of it.
But the brazenness of it, right? But outside this country, I always one, But in a department store somewhere in the US, I think it was somewhere in South Carolina, and we met a Indo-Guyanese, right? She hear the accent. Where are you from? Guyana? She's from the quarantine. Ordinarily, she won't hear you up like that. Ordinarily, really.
Ordinarily at home.
At home.
So,
But you see, we're in the diaspora. And we're all outsiders there.
yeah.
We're all outsiders there, which is the same problem we were pointing out quite recently with the fellow who, he lost the pursuit to become the next Prime Minister of Great Britain.
Yeah.
I would hate to think it's because of the color of his skin and the texture of his hair.
I already thought that.
Wealthy fella, bright fella, right?
The very
he got the
fact
wrong
that was the
skin
very
complexion.
fact that was even a part of the conversation, it contributed.
He was the
significantly.
forerunner,
Yeah.
and that woman came
He
out
was
of
the
nowhere.
bright one. He was the
Father.
bright one.
Lord have his mercy.
He was that shining, that shining star.
Yeah.
Amidst the dark.
And here are these Indian women in
it was
Texas
the same thing with when
experience.
Obama was running.
Correct.
When they questioned whether or not he was born
Oh yes,
there.
he was a Muslim. He was a Hindu. He was
His
Presbyterian.
birth certificate was correct. And this
You're
is
good until you want to strive a little higher. You're good until you want peace and land. You're good until you want a small business.
like, and that's what it is. It seems to me that they're
when it's vote time, I forget your vote.
it seems to me that
you have to walk in concert.
the administration believes that the indigenous people must be kept at bay.
Yeah.
And I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
There's no keeping at bay for anyone. Everyone, you're Guyanese, and that's how you must be
You're
treated.
entitled to.
You have an
this thing.
entitlement.
It's your birthright. We want
things.
it, and that's why we
Right?
commiserate with the young ladies there in Texas who felt the brunt of this. But that is some people live the experience every day in this very country here.
Yeah, and in the US, in the US, there's so many stories, and then the fact that how the US is built all together. If you could go to the history of it, some people were real brazen and daring to even utter certain things.
I sorry to allow this woman to chug them. I had to fight she, But the lucky is some good people sure have to.
Yeah. But what's amazing? What's amazing part
people.
about that story? You can see a woman there standing saying, "Go back to India," and then carrying on like that. And the way in which it was dealt with by law enforcement, that woman was arrested and charged.
Yeah.
Law enforcement was there stepping in to make sure that they took the matter very. I think her words or actions were deemed in the nature of some aspect of terrorism, if I'm not mistaken. That was how they put it over there. In our country, we have persons harassing one grouping and harassing the next grouping, and
I heard the name Robin.
it not being called out.
Robin,
We
Robin,
had that issue the
Robin.
other day
Yeah,
with the boy talking about cooking a pot of cook up, you know,
killing out.
and killing out
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Not once was he called
He say
in,
sorry.
you know, not once was he called
Life,
in.
life goes on. He's sorry.
And it
Another couple
shows
more
the
with along with him.
distinction.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
We have to treat
yeah.
it as a
and
serious
we
matter.
preaching that we believe in democracy more than anybody else
Mm.
and rule of law, you know, and so more than anybody else. But folks, that's our time for today. The conversation now getting juicy. That's our time for today. We're gonna have to leave you guys here. We're gonna be back at 8 for In the Ring, folks. We'll be fighting out there the issues and the personalities. And we wish you guys an awesome afternoon. Enjoy lunch.
Yes.
You know, enjoy lunch.
Whatever
enjoy the afternoon.
you're having for
Yeah, yeah,
lunch.
yeah,
We
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
had lunch
Cheers.
yet. Don't
Cheers.
worry.
Have a fantastic afternoon, folks. Have a fantastic afternoon. That's our time. That's our podcast.
Have a good day, guys.
Yep,
Bye.
Yep. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe.